I'm from Huddersfield, grew up above Slathwaite. Both my parents were involved with art and teaching. My dad on the graphic design side and my mum more textile design. But I wouldn't really say they pushed me into art. If anything, they tried to push me away from it. But I was always creative and drawing. Ended up doing art at Highfields in Huddersfield, art and design, and then continued to Bradford College doing graphic media communication. From there, met mate Peter O'Toole, and we began doing a magazine and a live art night together to help promote young artists, designers and creatives like ourselves. And since then I've just been freelancing mainly, doing a whole variety of jobs and also working on staff as a graphic designer at different companies. I'd say quite varied. I think my commercial work is quite different to my personal artwork. Commercially, I'd say lots of it is influenced by cartoons and comics and graffiti artwork, which I've done for about 12, 13 years. And then my personal work is usually quite detailed, lots of different elements and different pieces coming together to form one image. So there might be, for instance, some of my collage work, which I'd say is like a mix between 2D and 3D. So I'll take lots of sketches, drawings from various maybe doodles or maybe bits of artwork that I've created previously, cut them up, paste them back together into a new piece which has some kind of depth to it and it's not a flat piece. Again, I did some similar work which was more 3D, which used bits of other materials, cardboard and wood and metal and things like that. And then otherwise I've done lots of paper cut art, which influenced from Chinese paper cuts and stencil work, so you're quite varied. As I say, graffiti art was a big influence when I was younger and probably still is now, because it gave me an appreciation for lettering and typography. But many different things. I mean, I was quite into people like Basquiat, and Matisse is probably one of my favourite fine artists. But then my most recent work has been heavily influenced by pop artists, but without really researching them or looking at them. It just happened that that's how the work ended up looking. Well, Banksy's like a media darling. I think it's easy for people to appreciate it because it's got a huge price tag on it. There's quite a few other artists that came up with him in the street art kind of movement, but to me it's like selling out. Obviously the aim is to be a successful artist, but I think there's kind of a limit where it's just cheapened the whole culture, because street art is meant to be free for people to look at and not for celebrities to covet and spend thousands of pounds on. I think as well with graffiti and street art, I can totally see why people wouldn't like it, why it might be an invasion of it might be looked down upon because it's in the public domain and it's not necessarily asked for, maybe not wanted. But I would say look at advertising, which is pushed in your face every place you look, and because somebody's paid some money to do that, then that's deemed as acceptable. Huddersfield is a good place for it because we're in between being a small town where nothing really happens and a city where there isn't as much unity or community, I don't think. So I've enjoyed working in Huddersfield, and I hope that me and my friends together have done quite a lot for the local scene. I mean, most people I know put on nights that are free to attend, they involve local artists, not just paying somebody to travel to the town. I mean, we do have that. It's good that you can get large musicians or artists to come and play at our nights in a small town. I mean, personally, we've hosted nights with artists from America, from London, from all over the UK, so it is good for that. But also one of our main aims was to promote especially young local musicians and creative people. So for me, that's what's rewarding about working in Huddersfield. Not to detract from the good work that people do on various community projects, either within the council or charitable organisations or just people doing it for themselves. But I think there should be and could be a lot more, and some of that is definitely to do with money and funding, and I think the government really doesn't have any kind of appreciation for the arts other than when something's successful in the arts and then they immediately want to cash in on it and be behind it. I think the Tory government's cut masses of funding to arts programmes, which is just going to ruin the opportunities for a lot of young people especially, and end up closing down many small organisations and projects. But yeah, like I say, there's lots of good people doing really good work across Huddersfield at different levels. So yeah, there could be more, but I think it should be led by government and big businesses investing in local community, and then maybe they can be proud of the results instead of trying to cash in at the last minute. Like I mentioned with Banksy, it's obviously the aim is to become successful enough to make a living from your artwork, but on the flip side then people will say you commercialised yourself or you've sold out. So me and my friends growing up, we always said we'll always do this as a job, but whether we're rich or poor. So I think there's a lot of that. I find it that I might be doing a high-paid job for a big national or international company, and then the next day I might be doing something that's really small for peanuts. But it's just the way you've got to always work, and you can't turn down jobs because of the scale. And hopefully it just snowballs into becoming more successful and more prestigious clients. I think definitely I'd say doing my own work is more enjoyable, or I have a need to do it. But saying that, if I only ever did my own work, I think you can run into kind of walls of creativity when you're getting briefs from different people who are maybe doing something you've never been involved or interested in, and it makes you think about things in a different light or think about things you would have never come across. So that is refreshing to try and visualise other people's ideas or other people's projects. So I think it's a mix-up of the two together, but obviously I'd like to just do more of my own work. I think there are, but it's very difficult. There's some really proactive people and organisations in Huddersfield, but trying to bring everybody together in some kind of a network is really difficult, and there's many people who tried to do this, but there are places like Bates Mill, the Media Centre, many others that you can get involved with the local scene and other creative people to collaborate, show work, view other people's work, workshops, etc. But I think there's always got to be that drive to push it more, have more collaboration and more unity in the town. I think there could be something that's done through the establishment, but then again, saying that, they can often become quite contrived and stale almost. And then on the flip side, there's relying on people who have massive amounts of energy and enthusiasm, who do things as individuals or in small groups without government backing or the like, but if they move on or if they retire or for whatever reason they leave, that leaves a gap. So I think it's both things. It'd be nice to have more governmental or organised cohesion between the groups in the town, but you do also need the energetic, driven people to run the individual elements as well. Hopefully just loads more work and working with exciting people. I'd like to travel more with my work because travelling to India, China, Europe really influences my work and meeting other people and seeing other techniques. So yeah, hopefully just travel and more exciting work and exciting people.